Well, good morning and welcome to Prepping for Prosperity. How are you all today? This is where we talk about using our preparedness to become more prosperous and then using that prosperity to become more prepared, right? I want to talk today about entrepreneurship. I've talked about uh, the importance of having your own business as your independent money and income generator and not being reliant on a system. It's really the dream of most Americans. Did you know that there was a study done that more people would rather own their own business than be a celebrity or a major sports star? And I don't doubt that a bit, because it brings with it, having your own business, while it brings its own challenges, it brings with it a freedom and a self-determination that's so important in the quality of a person's life. Today I want to talk about entrepreneurship. By the way, I want to say, if you're not with us on the Patreon channel, you might want to consider that. The link is down below, because I put a lot of stuff over there that is going to help you understand about the economy, um, finances, things like that I don't put on here. And it's really kind of an educational hub for you to go to help you understand. I collect those things that I see across the web, or maybe I'll say some things myself and I'll put it over there so that you can read it, understand it, because you have to be, in order to really put the lessons of personal finance and economics to work, you have to understand how they work, but then also what's going on in the rest of the world, and then see how they come together. So and we are growing, by the way. Welcome to everybody who is over there with us on the Patreon channel. It is great to have you all, and I continue to be surprised how quickly it's growing. A couple of things that are of interest today before we get into today's subject. I just clicked on here and I see that jobless claims have risen sharply, the highest level since 2021. Well, that's to be expected. They're shoveling you a snow shovel full of false information about the economy. They're saying how great it is. It's not great, and you know that. Jobless claims are up. The wholesale inflation eases, they say, in April, the lowest level in 2 years. You know why that is? Because inflation was so high. I mean, I've talked about, and you probably see this in your own buying, many of the food items that I buy have gone up 100%. So, if it goes up 100%, and then over the last, in more recently, in the last quarter or the last month, whatever, if they have only gone up 5 or 20% or 30%, well, then they're going to tell you that inflation is easing, because there's not 100% anymore. Don't be fooled by these things. We're continuing to see problems in regional banks. The instability in the banking system continues to be of concern. And now there's been major bank downgrades to Bud Light's parent company to their stock after their big inclusion fiasco with whatever that moron's name was. Dylan somebody? The guy that wants to be a girl. Okay. Excuse me for that slurp, by the way. I had a couple of people on another channel, not you all, you're good folks, complain about my gulping. I do drink loud, but I've taken the mic off of my shirt and I've put it on my desk. I'm going to cover it with my hand while I take one more sip before we get into talking about the excitement of entrepreneurship. Okay, just a minute. We'll see how that worked out, all right? I hate not to be able to drink coffee during my talks, because this is the third one that I've made today. Each one of them is, 20 to 30 minutes long. I've made one for integrative preparedness. I've made one for American reversion, and now I'm making one for prepping for prosperity. My mouth gets dry when I talk that much, and then after this, I'm going to be working on the Audible book for the reversion. By the way, I hardly ever say here But all of my videos, remember, are brought to you by the Stonemont series, the reversion, the revival, the renewal, and appeal to heaven, the blessings of freedom, and the hostages to fortune, available through Amazon, the link down below, in either paperback or Kindle, or available through my website, stonemont.us, and then you can get them from me autographed. Okay, entrepreneurship. One of the most special things you can do. It is exciting. It takes energy and it gives energy. And it is also, it can be risky. It's not for the faint of heart, but like they say, the British SAS have a saying, their motto is, who dares wins. And I've always liked that. And it means you have to take your shot. You have to try. And, if you haven't read Teddy Roosevelt's Man in the Arena, I should probably read that on here one of these days. You can find it yourself and read it. It's about the difference between the person who tries and the person who doesn't. And that's really what I'm going to talk about here. Maybe I'll put that over on the Patreon channel. We'll see. Entrepreneurship, starting your own business, creating your own life is exciting. It takes energy, and it gives you energy. It's one of the things that will get you up in the morning and get going. How many of you have jobs working for somebody else you just can't wait to get out of bed and get started and get over there, take your hurried shower and grab a bagel and get to work and get in your office and get in your cubicle and work for that boss that you don't really like, Not many. That is the feeling of an entrepreneur. The one who wakes up hours before they have to, can't lay in bed because they have so much going on in their mind. They are so excited to get up and get at it. That's the way I am. That's the way I've been for years since I started, having my own businesses. I can't stay in bed. I have so much to do that excites me. It gives me. It can also be a very lonely experience, but you have to be willing and able to find the necessary emotional fulfillment in yourself. Now, why do I say that? Because the rest of the world does not necessarily share your excitement. There's an old saying, never share unfinished plans with a fool. Because it goes on, that's not part of the same quote, but there's a second quote that applies to that immediately, and that is, the greatest fool can ask questions that the wisest person cannot answer. Now, how does this apply to starting your own business, building your own business, entrepreneurship? Because you need the energy and the excitement to build that part of your life. You need it. That is the fuel. Energy, imagination, and excitement are the fuel, and determination, but these are the fuel. They're the fuel of entrepreneurship and building your own business and building your own future. And one of the greatest dangers, one of the greatest enemies of that? Other people. That's right. Other people, many of whom you would think and you hope and you would wish would be on your side and just as excited as you that you're building your business or you're doing whatever it is, we're social people, and the support of other people can be very important to us. It's emotionally important. And when our emotions are attacked, our mental processes tend to go down. Or when our emotional expectations aren't met, it's like one of those, right? I don't know how many people I've known who have had the wonderful ideas and going at it and shared it with a friend, a family member, or whatever, and been completely destroyed. Now, does that person, do you think I mean that person said, that's a horrible idea, that'll never work, that'll never... No, that's not what they do. You know what they do? They do what's called condemning or damning with faint praise. After you have expressed your excitement, what you're going to do, and the new thing you're going to try and all that, they'll go, and you're hoping for a response like, wow, that's great, you go. They'll say, oh, yeah. And then they just unplugged that, didn't they? They unplugged you. Now all your sand's running out because you had built this, you'd been thinking about this. You'd been thinking about this. And you had finally gotten to the point where you wanted to share it with somebody. Right? And you did. You shared it with one of the people that you thought would be 100% supportive and help you maintain. It would be someone that you could share the rungs on the ladder as you continued to climb, and they would go, yay, yay. And they didn't do it. They said, oh, well, yeah. I guess maybe you could do that. Or even worse, the person who is so afraid of taking chances themselves, they can't stand the thought of anyone else taking chances and getting ahead. After you've shared your excitement and your vision with them, they'll start asking you the questions, thinking that sitting back with the wise consideration of the cynic will go, yeah, but have you thought about this? And have you thought about that? And have you thought about... Make no mistake. Take it from somebody who's experienced it. Those people, while not considering themselves your enemies, are your enemy. They are the enemy in this area of your life. Because they, and many of them don't mean to do this, but it doesn't matter whether they mean to or not. Many of them do it out of their own feelings of shortcomings, okay? Their own emotional damage from, life, what life has done to them. So in many cases, you can't fault them for it. It's just the way they are. They're emotional vampires. They are energy vampires. They are excitement vampires. They are the ones who keep you from attaining your best. So, what's the solution? This is very important. And it can be very tough. You have to stop sharing your plans or your excitement with those people. Okay? And it can be very tough. I mean, if they are a significant other, a family member, a spouse, or whatever. And I've known people in all of those situations. The person that you hold in such a point in your life that you want to share these things. But if they don't support you 100%, you have to stay away from. You have to keep this away from them. Or else they will sabotage it. Without meaning to, many times. Without meaning to. They will sabotage it. Because they will have a negative effect on your psyche, on your emotions and your mental process. And that will suck out the energy and excitement that is the fuel for your entrepreneurship. Okay. Now, so yeah, entrepreneurship can be lonely business, but it's worth it. And do you know what? If you go and just do your thing and build it up and build it up and build it up. And when it's successful, these same people who would have drained your energy before, you know what they'll say? That's fantastic. I knew you could do that. You know, don't hate them for it. Don't fault them for it. Realize this is an indication of their own limitations. You have to deal with people the way they are. You can't change them. Deal with people the way they are. When you find those people in your life that are the cheerleaders for you, that are 100% supportive, what you've done is fantastic. This is fantastic. Best of luck. I love so much watching what you're doing. I love your creativity. I love this. I love that. You know, some people might say, well, you know, that's kind of, if you need that. I mean, that's not how Edison did it, or, you know. We're not talking about Edison. We're talking about the way people really are. Find the positive people, the people who uplift you, who are your cheerleaders. Share, to the extent that's appropriate, share your dreams with them. You can share your successes, and with those you can also share your failures. You're going to have a bad day. Something isn't going to work out. That's the person that you can share it with, and they'll say, don't worry, you're going to whip this. And that's what you need. As opposed to the other person, you share a failure with them, what are they going to say? Yeah, I was afraid that was going to happen. And you know what half the time they really mean deep down? They hoped that was happened, because there's some kind of sick psychology going on in a lot of people. They really don't want other people to get ahead. Sad to say, we've all got them in our lives. You have to keep them out of this part of your business. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That's one of the greatest pieces of advice I give anybody getting into business. You can probably identify some of these people in your life, good and bad. Be selective who you share things with. And good luck in everything you do, because you know what? You can do it. You can do it. If you have a dream, if you have an idea, if you let your creativity go and your energy and get out there, and you'll be successful. Just don't let these other people in there to where they can mess things up, okay? All right. You all get at it. Get out there and do something. Have a great day. Remember, if you're not with us on Patreon, join us on Patreon. It's going to help you. I put stuff over there that's going to help you. And fill your life with the positive people, and minimize the effect of the negative people on your life, and you'll do great. Remember that your prosperity is in your hands, nobody else's. It's up to you to do with what you will, and you can do what you set your mind to. You all have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.